All right, friends, I'm gonna spatchcock a turkey, which otherwise means butterfly. This is about a 12-pound turkey, and this is the breast side up, and that will be spread out in a moment. So I took out the giblets and the throat from the cavity, and I will now flip it over to the back. And really what I want to do, and the wing, it's already been clipped here, so that's important for later. What I'm gonna do is cut off the excess fat that's here. These are shears that I'm using. And I'm basically gonna try to get as close as I can to get the backbone out right around there using kitchen shears. It's going good so far. It's fairly soft. It's fairly soft bone here. So it's easy to cut through, relatively speaking. To give myself a little bit more help, I'm gonna cut off the other side at the same time. And the benefit to spatchcocking is that it encourages browning, as you'll see as I put it on the baking sheet in a moment, because the entire skin of the bird is facing up. A lot of times, traditionally what you would do, I'm going to turn it around and start from this side. Traditionally what you would do is use a roasting pan for a turkey. And the issue with the roasting pan is half the turkey is not exposed during the cook. And so sometimes what people have recommended to do with turkeys and with other whole birds like a chicken is to flip the bird in the middle of the roast, which is annoying and also sometimes results in browned but flabby skin because the moisture is captured underneath the bird, and it results in it softens the crispy skin. And so there's some problems with that. Aside from spatchcocking, I've also had some success cutting the bird into pieces and roasting them separately. Sometimes, even this year, I braised some legs and sous vide the breasts. See, we're getting through right now. It's about what I want. And I'm gonna save this backbone for broth. Now I have the turkey open, and what I'm gonna try to do is break a portion of it. It doesn't want to break, so I'm gonna have to force it to. It wants to stay connected. All right, before I do that, I'll cut off this stuff right here. This excess fat is sometimes used to tie the bird together. So now that this is open, we're not done yet, we're getting there. What we need to do is break this part. And it isn't going as well as I wish, so I'm gonna have to keep trying. There we go. There, that's about right. And then after this is done, I'm gonna flip it this way and take some salt. Now this is a salt and pepper mixture. I'm gonna put some right on the interior of the bird here and spread it all around. This way it'll be penetrating on this side. And then I'm also going to do the same over here, except what I'll do is get it, because turkey's skin is so thick, it's hard for the salt to penetrate to the breast, which is really where you want to focus the brine, because it's lean meat, and of course the salt helps create some moisture it's fairly tough, like I said. So there's a lower risk. There's a lower risk in breaking through the inside, breaking through the skin. But even if you did, you could always put like a toothpick or something like that to secure it. I'm gonna take some of the salt right here. And notice that I measured it out separately, so I'm not using a ramekin that I would use otherwise because my hands are clearly contaminated. So I put some underneath there, and also what I'll do is, you know what I'm gonna do actually? I am going to try to get underneath this portion too, because I want the legs to have a little bit of seasoning on them too. It's a little bit time consuming to do it, but if you've bared with me this far, I'm happy about that. There we go. Take a little bit more salt and just put it inside here. The legs themselves will be tender, so brining them isn't important, but you do get a better taste when you do that too. So that's part of the idea here, to make sure we have a seasoned and moist bird. And you want to take some care. I think maybe even a little bit extra care during the holidays, because you're usually feeding some people. All right, so that's about done. And then what I'll also do is take a skewer and just poke the skin. I know I said be careful when you, be careful not to break through the skin. I'm gonna poke the skin where the fat deposits are so that it renders and doesn't compromise the product very much. In other words, the fat doesn't stay in and it has a place to leak out of. And now I have the baking soda, salt, and pepper mixture that goes right on top of the bird, like so. And I'll rub that in more in a moment. It's baking powder actually, and what baking powder does is it agitates the surface of the skin and creates more craggliness, so to speak. And that will actually increase some browning too. It's also changing the kind of the chemical composition of the meat, and that will encourage browning. And of course, that's a significant part of the whole point of doing this really is to get even cooking and browning, and so you're getting a better result when you do that. And then also what I'll do is I want to show you this. I want to tie the legs together. And I found that a triple loop here makes it real easy and possible to get a real tight knot. And then I'll cut it, and that's it. And then what I'll do is we'll take the bird and move it right over here to a baking sheet, which I'll show you in a moment. Here it is. That's it's on the baking sheet, and I'm actually gonna leave it out at room temperature for a little bit, but then I'm also going to put it in the fridge till I'm ready to cook it. This is a wire rack set in a baking sheet, which is super easy to use and super easy to clean, and it also is much more inexpensive compared to a full roasting pan. And the short sides here also encourage browning all over the surface. So that's how you spatchcock and season a turkey.